Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another video at my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be creating a couple of cards using ink blending and new products from the Simon Says Stamp holiday release. I'm using the Holiday Sparkle Greeting stamp set for my first card. So I'm starting out with some white cardstock. This is cut to an A2 card size, so 4¼ by 5½. And I'm prepping that white cardstock with an anti-static powder tool. I'm going to be doing some embossing today, so that's just going to help the embossing powder kind of stay in places where I want it. I'm inking up my stamp with a Versamark ink pad and then pressing that down onto my card front. So the stamp set that I'm using has really long, large greetings. This is a stamp set that I designed, and so I'm going to kind of show you the kind of card I was imagining when I designed this stamp set. So I added some alabaster embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and then I brought in a bunch of these little star stamps. So there are big greetings in the stamp set and then lots of groupings of small images, whether they're stars or little snow dots or sparkles, things like that. And I've grouped the different images so that you can stamp them all together, but then move them around and kind of customize your pattern surrounding the word. So I first stamped these 3 clusters of stars, applied some embossing powder, and then heat set that with my heat tool. And I repeated this process multiple times until I had quite a few stars on the top and bottom of the word. And then I grabbed the individual star stamps from the stamp set and just stamped some stars kind of scattered more near the top and bottom. And I applied embossing powder to those as well. Heat set that until they were smooth and melted, and then moved on to the ink blending. So I'm using Distress ink today because I think it does emboss resist over embossing powder a little bit better than Distress oxides. For me, oxides tend to sit on the surface of the embossing more, and you don't get that stark white look. Could just be me, but for my personal preference, I like to use Distress ink for this particular technique, which, like I just briefly mentioned, is emboss resist. The embossing powder areas are slick and shiny, and so the ink I'm applying on top just glides right off of it. So then it reveals the white underneath. I'm using 4 different colors of Distress ink today. I'm using Tumbled Glass, Faded Jeans, Chipped Sapphire, and Black Soot. And I actually probably could have just omitted Faded Jeans because I think the transition from Tumbled Glass to Chipped Sapphire probably would have been enough, but I just wasn't sure at the time. But, just hindsight, 2020. So I'm trying to get a really nice soft blend coming to the bottom and intensifying that blue right over the words. And then just to bring in some darkness at the top of my card design, I brought in Black Soot. The stars are very spread out and more sparse near the top, so I thought having a bit of a darker area would be good. So I have all my blending done. I'm going to grab a paper towel and buff off any of that ink that remained on top of my embossing. And that leaves me with some nice white stars and the white words. So I'm going to be putting this on a card front. I'm going to cut it down a little smaller first using the A2 layers dies from Waffle Flower. Just cutting that down just a little bit. And then I'm prepping a card base. Now this card base is made out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I'm scoring that at 5½ to create a top folding card. I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back of my blended piece and then put that directly down onto my card front. So the basic background for my card design is complete. I'm now going to work on the imagery I'm going to put over top of this night sky scene. I'm going to be using this really cute stamp set from Simon Says Stamp from their latest release. It's this from the same release. This is Santa's Sleigh Ride Slider. And the dies that go with this actually have like the little channels to create a slider card. I'm not going to be doing that today. I just want to use the Santa sleigh image. So I'm going to be stamping that in Simon Intense Black ink. And I'm going to stamp this twice just to make sure I have really stark black lines. It's going to give me a really good impression when I go to stamp it twice. So I'll stamp that twice, and then I'm going to go right into some Copic coloring. I mostly want to keep this to reds and greens, so you're going to see the caps of the colors onto the side. Unfortunately, they're a little bit blurry. They're not as in focus, but the coloring is in focus, and that is the most important. So I'm going to speed this up and put on a little bit of holiday music. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, after all the coloring, I grabbed the coordinating dies, lined that up, and I taped it down with a little bit of washi tape and ran that through my die cutting machine. I then put some foam adhesive on the back and then placed that onto my card at a diagonal so it looks like Santa is flying through the nighttime sky. For a little shimmer, I'm using a Nuvo Glimmer pen. I think that's what it's called. Glimmer, shimmer, I can't remember. I'll have it linked down below. That's just adding a little bit of sparkle on the red areas on Santa. That finishes my first card. Now, since I had my ink blending tools out and those distressed inks out, I thought I would try one more card today using some ink blending. And I'm going to be using the Bold Merry Christmas stencil from Simon. This is another product that I designed. I love this font and the fun, whimsical arrangement. I'm taking some pixie spray and I'm going to spray the back of the stencil. I did that off camera. Sprayed the back of the stencil and let it dry for about a minute. Makes the back of the stencil tacky so I can press it down onto my cardstock while I work with it. So I'm using some white cardstock here. This is more of that Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. This time it's cut to 5x7. And I'm using just 3 colors this time. Or actually, I think I do use all 4. But I really just wanted a simple blend going all the way across. I didn't want anything too crazy, and I wanted to keep the black areas to a minimum. So I'm going to bring in just a little bit of black on the right corner here just to intensify that area. So after I have all my blending done, because I use pixie spray, I can just very gently peel up my stencil and then I'm left with my design. Now you could definitely leave your card like this, super simple and easy, but I decided I wanted a little bit more detail on it. So after adhering my ink blended panel to a 5x7 card base, I grabbed a white gel pen. I'm going to be using a Gelly Roll number 10 bold pen. And I just did some dots and I varied the sizes, tried to make it look a little bit like snow or sparkles, just something like that. And I just went all the way around this entire design and added dots just randomly. And this is going to make this card really, really simple and easy to complete. I think this would be really fun if you changed up the colors as well. I think like a red, a deep red, and a green would be really pretty. So that is the second card for today using the stencil. I hope you guys enjoyed my cards today, showing you some ink blending, the same colors on both cards. Thanks so much for watching. I will be back tomorrow with a live video at noon Mountain Time. Please join me. I know a lot of you are loving watching the replay, so if you can't catch it live, you can catch the replay after I'm done. And it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys stop by. Thanks so much for watching today. I will see you guys tomorrow.